He has an opportunity to uplift us and bring us together and help us move through this difficult situation in our nation's history, and instead, he chooses to play petty politics and divide us. That's my reaction. So I'm going to do the work that I need to do here in my local community with my local officials to take accountability for what's happening on our streets, and I'd appreciate that either the president support us or he stay the hell out of the way.
Mr. Wheeler, Ted, nice talking about you again. You say you're going to take accountability about what happened in your city, yet it seems like you're just blaming Trump. He offered you help several times, and you refused. In fact, you condemned him for it, didn't you? So, are there riots going on right now? Or is it peaceful protests? Is Trump helping? Or is he making things worse? Some Democratic politicians and the mainstream media will have you believe that everything is Trump's fault. But is it? Let's get into it. Violence once again sparked across the nation this weekend. The media was quick to blame Trump. Many Democratic leaders followed suit, but not all. 6 Democratic mayors in Minnesota have endorsed Donald Trump. But why? Well, Minnesota has seen weeks of looting, burning, and rioting. Biden has not condemned it. In fact, several of Biden's and Kamala's staffers have been donating money to the Minnesota Freedom Fund, an organization that bails out Black Lives Matter and Antifa terrorists. So, we got Kamala and Biden indirectly bailing out Antifa and Black Lives Matter terrorists who hate this country. Watch. And hey, if you're a Jew and you're planning on voting for Joe Biden, hear me out here. Joe Biden, as I said before, is indirectly bailing out members of Antifa who hate you just because you're a Jew. Watch. Lovely people. CNN keeps gaslighting you and telling you that the riots don't exist. Of course, Lemon Lime had an accident and was honest last week in saying that the riots existed and were in fact hurting the Democrats. But quickly, CNN went back to denying the riots, and they have chirons that read fiery but mostly peaceful protests. What? This CNN article claims that President Trump was fearing that the election was getting away from him because the peaceful protests were bringing race relations to the table and that would inevitably hurt him. Then they claim that Trump started emphasizing that the peaceful protests were in fact riots to gaslight you, to lie to you, because he was scared of losing the election. This is ridiculous. And look, media, CNN, they love gaslighting you. And a very good example of this is when they claim that Trump failed to condemn and said that they were good people on both sides and referring to the Charlottesville incident. Take a look at this little compilation.
Many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay?
Their veins bulging.
But he said specifically that he was condemning them.
He did not. He said he walked out and he said, let's get this straight.
And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
And when the president was asked about it, he said,
they should be condemned totally.
Racist and not condemn them.
They should be condemned totally.
He said there were, quote, some very fine people on both sides.
And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
Joe Biden's statement about the violence this weekend was very interesting. He blamed Trump for everything. He said that the president sows division in our nation. And then he asked, does anyone believe there would be less violence if Donald Trump is reelected? It's a very good question. So will violence stop if Donald Trump is reelected? Nah, I don't think so. And I don't think it's Trump's fault. I think Donald Trump has been blackmailed from the beginning. The Democrats have been trying to oust him from office since the day he took office. First they tried Russiagate. Then they tried Ukraine, impeaching him because of the Ukrainian conversations. Then they tried putting COVID-19 on him. That almost worked. In fact, that was working. But then they tried another thing, another tactic, rioting. And at first, sure, it was working. The media and people were saying that Trump was a strongman dictator trying to put the military in the streets, saying he had the stormtroopers snatching innocent protesters from the streets. Of course, this is all lies, but that's what they were spouting. But now, it's been so long, the writing has gotten so bad, so many lives were lost, that it's backfired. And Trump is gaining in the polls. 31 people are dead. The smell of civil war is in the air. Why? To replace Donald Trump. But even if Donald Trump is reelected, that's just not going to make it go away. These people need to be defeated by force and in the courts. The only other way it will stop is when the radical lefties get their way. I understand if you don't like Donald Trump on a personal level. I don't know the guy personally, but from what I garner, I don't think I like him either. Maybe I would. I don't know. But I think he's been a good president. And I think he will do a good job for 4 more years. So when Democrats ask you, how are you going to vote for Donald Trump? Don't you want the violence to end? Here's what I say. Yes, I want the violence to end. But I'm not going to be blackmailed into compliance. Because blackmailing never ends. It's a slippery slope. If violence becomes the only language of the left, then the right will be forced to speak it too. And then, civil war will be inevitable. What do you think? Comment down below. Like, subscribe. Ginger out.